So for people who don't know this person, this is Derek Frader. Mr. Frader and I ran a school in Arizona together. And then we worked with United Professionals together as a team in Black Belt Schools International doing instructor colleges. And I just think he's an amazing instructor. And I knew, or I think he probably has some really, really good ideas about doing virtual classes. So everyone's looking to do the virtual classes better. Everyone's looking to have better engagement because we know if we have good engagement, kids are having fun, then mom and dad are going to still pay for their classes. And that's part of our financial survival plan, keeping kids engaged and continuing getting payments. So, Mr. Frader, a couple of things that I really liked about your classes when you taught live is just the energy. You're a very animated instructor, and that's probably a little bit harder to do in front of the camera. You're also really good at getting the parents and the kids engaged, besides just doing martial arts, some type of lesson. So how many virtual classes are you doing now?
We're doing virtual classes almost on the same schedule that we were doing before. Still have a Monday through Saturday, trying to give as much consistency to our student base as possible. That's a huge thing. Is right now it's such an inconsistent time. I feel like if we can be the branch of consistency that our students can have, and they're going to hang on to that branch as tight as they can. And I think that's going to be a big thing in retention right now. I know that having that schedule and keeping to it and making it easy for them to be able to continue their training. We've had huge feedback. Their students have actually referred more people now than they have ever before, because it's so much easier to just send a link to 20 people than it is to go and physically talk to 20 people. So, there's some cool things that we can actually, use right now to be able to get the awareness out about what everyone is doing. So that's something that's big, is that just the consistency of keeping the classes there. But besides that, we've had to, we found that shortening the classes makes it a little bit easier, because instead of this kids being there in front of the screen for the 45 minutes or for the hour of doing their class, we're doing 20 or 30-minute classes, and it's been kind of perfect, because that's just enough time for the parents to have a break or for them to watch their kids be active during the day, without the kids getting distracted. The last thing we want is for the parents to feel like they have to babysit their kids during our class. And so, keeping it shorter but energetic and fun, like you were saying, has been a huge help. The other thing about the energy, though, we still do that. I'm still very animated and still going crazy, hooting and hollering and clapping and making motions and everything. It's just even bigger now, because now I have to convey all that through a screen and through a camera. Using Zoom has been a huge benefit. They've been upping their protection, they've been upping their security, and we've been doing the same thing, communicating with the parents on the measures that we're taking to ensure that our students are being safe. So that's nice to be able to actually see the students right there while they're doing their techniques, and then spotlighting them, because I've got somebody behind the camera that will actually spotlight them and put them up on the screen. So, little things like that, we can still do our highlight, we can still have the energy, we can still have the animation. It's just through a virtual platform now.
I think it's really important, too, for the kids to be getting their curriculum. I know you can't be as hard on the curriculum as before, but the parents still have to see that they're learning something, and that the entertainment is really, really important, but they have to get some type of education, which I guess goes back to our old EQ with empowering, entertaining, and educating our students.
Yes, sir.
So you always have to do something unique. What's something you may do unique in your class as far as like mat chats or just stuff like that?
Yeah, we try and get them as engaged as possible. Instead of just becoming like a speaker, we want this to be a class that they actually feel that they're a part of. That, instead of it just being a video they're watching, which parents can just go to YouTube, they can type in PE class and boom, they can take a PE class. They can type in karate class on YouTube and boom, there's a free karate class. What really sets us aside is the engagement with our students. And so having that engagement is big. Some of the things that I've been doing is I've been using, here's my daughter's homework. Her little piece of talk, but I've been using just a piece of paper. So I have the students take the piece of paper and we write it down. So if like your word of the week is, or your mat chat is about perseverance, they will write down on that piece of paper, I will not give up. And then they hold it to the screen, or I'm going to finish this. Or if it's about follow through or having self-discipline, they're going to hold it there. I did one where we did a room check. So this was a clean room check. We're talking about self-discipline all week long. And the parents were the ones that had to participate in this mat chat. Because at the end of class, I said, okay, it's our clean room check. So parents, you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if that room is clean or not. And you see the kids like turn and look at mom like, oh no, this is real. And then the parents are doing this and some of them are like that. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm taking a picture and we're going to call you guys and we're going to find out tomorrow if it's clean or not. And then we did the same thing and the parents were giving us thumbs down, thumbs up. So parent involvement was there. We also did with accomplishing their fears, so having courage. We wrote down, have them write down on a piece of paper, my biggest fear is heights, or I have a fear of heights, or I have a fear of failing, things like that. And they would pull up to the screen. Well, courage is being stronger than your fear. So then we would record all those students ripping their fear in half, right? And that's a really cool thing there. We also just had some fun engagement with the students. I had my instructors with me and we would, get up close to the camera and we just smile there. And we would smile like goofballs for about 10 seconds. And while the kids, they would turn around and they'd look at their parents and they'd stand next to their TV and the parents took pictures. So they were taking pictures with their instructors, or selfie with the instructors. So that was a fun time there. A lot of the parents don't have targets or hand targets at home. Some of them do, but some of them don't. And so we've been creative with it. They've been getting their favorite stuffed animal. They've been getting their a pillow to hold, or even just a piece of paper. I showed the parents just holding a piece of paper for accuracy and precision is a big thing. And then it makes a cool sound. It's that kind of engagement that keeps them coming back or talking about it later.
One of the ideas I had is the kids actually create their own living room dojo. So if they could order some hand targets, maybe a big target, get cones. So they put cones out and that's their dojo. And the cones are to protect the parents' furniture, lamps, and things like that. Then if they didn't have a carpet, they can get a mat, like a yoga mat, to do their sit-ups on. I thought they could use their belt. So if you put their belt on the floor, all types of things where they're jumping over the belt, skipping over one. So it's like a piece of equipment. Or they could get one of those ladders, agility ladders, and part of your class is running through the agility ladder. But I think they'd be really proud having their own living room dojo.
I think so. I know we almost start every single class that way too, especially if we're using any kind of weapon. But it's okay, let's make sure there's nothing around that's going to break, or let's make sure that there's nothing you're going to trip over. It's important that they know, like, okay, we're not in a wide open space anymore. We're not on professional grade mats. It almost gives the parents and the kids a little bit more appreciation for being able to go to your school,
Right.
So that's nice too, I guess. But then we do have those kids that we're looking, we're like, oh man, that's a nice setup, and they've got their mats laid down, they've got it's like their own little dojo at their house that you're talking about, professional looking, and so they're taking it serious. So that's a good idea. I know that we've just been trying to find anything. We have some of the kids that don't have nunchucks or they don't have their sword. And so I said, okay, find your training tool. And one kid came out, he's got a wooden spoon. And another kid came out and he's got a sandal. And I'm like, you know what? You do you. Like, this is great. Black belts always find a way, right? And so we're doing it. And then some of them have lightsabers. So it's just fun stuff like that. My wife has been great and coming up with a lot of different ideas too. So she's just checking different things out, and even using glow sticks to do something like a glow in the dark night or something like that. I mean,
Jerry Prince did that, and I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah.
Pictures of all the kids doing stuff like that. I thought it was really neat.
And seeing there's so much engagement that we can do. I think that if we just stick to the minimum, then I think that we're going to only keep or retain the minimum. So, we got to do a lot.
What about adults? Because I know you do Krav Maga in your school. Are you doing adult Krav Maga classes?
We do, yeah. We still have the Krav Maga classes. We still have our kickboxing classes or our fitness classes. With fitness classes, it's kind of tough because there are so many online options for fitness. Just offering it though is nice. We have it still once a week, sometimes twice a week. And it's good to still see everybody. And then the adults get to be active. Sometimes, it's good to throw in a family fitness class as well. The difficult part with teaching self-defense right now is there's nobody to defend against. And it's more about the concept and the actual technique itself, or the combatives themselves, rather than the application. So, focusing on the technique, perfecting the technique, maybe even giving it a little bit of a workout is going to be a good idea for the adults. The adults do look for a workout. They do look to be able to get strong and to gain knowledge. But also, I think, in my opinion, adults are looking for just some connectivity right now. I think they're lonely too.
Yeah.
So being able to have a nice time, like, all right, twice a week I get together with my Krav guys. We talk, and this is good.
I think that's a good idea. Maybe a good way to get spouses engaged too. If you are doing some self-defense, hey guys, I know you're not supposed to beat up your wife or anything, but this is a good chance to have them learn how to do some self-defense at the same time.
Yeah. You put that disclaimer out there, but no, I mean, that's a good point. And then that way it's, they're involving the family and getting the spouse up without violating any kind of mandate that's going on right now.
Yeah, right. Because they can't have a buddy over the house or anything like that. But I think just putting everyone on the screen and have them have 5 minutes at the end just to chit chat, talk, and what have you been doing? What type of creative things have been occupying your time. So
yeah, I think that's great. I mean, just giving them time to be able to socialize, and that's a nice little hangouts time.
we did because I know the Bakers from Arizona. We did a Zoom cocktail party with them. So everyone had a glass of wine and we're just talking and catching up, and we thought we'd do it for like 20 minutes, and an hour later we said, man, can you believe an hour went by? So, especially with the martial arts school, because you have that culture in your school where people some of their best friends take martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
Or they made their best friends through martial arts. So I think having that social time is real important too.
Oh, absolutely. I know yesterday we just did a surprise virtual birthday party for Seth. So
Really?
yeah, we were all on Zoom, and then his girlfriend turned it on, and there's all of his friends and family. So that we do what we got to do, like I said earlier, black belts find a way.
Exactly. I have a couple clients starting to do intros online. Johnny I met up in Canada. He's been doing 2-week intros for free. I think he did 50 of them last month.
Wow.
What he found out is martial arts schools aren't really advertising a lot on Facebook. And other things that compete for the kids' times, like soccer, baseball, and all that, isn't happening. So people are looking for things for their kids to do. Plus, parents who are just like homeschool teachers now, they want recess time. Okay, but let's get a time where now they have to do phys ed or recess. So he's trying to really tap into that market. He's following up with an equipment package, $97 for 6 weeks. Zach Silkis is doing, I believe it's $12.95 a week. So people do like an intro class for $1, or it's an intro week for $1. After that, he converts them over to regular students and pay $12.95 down and $12.95 a week. I don't think really anyone has got the magic number, because I'm seeing a lot of intros, but not a ton of enrollments. I'm seeing Zach, I think, did 6 last week, 6 enrollments, which is great when most people are losing a lot of people. So,
and that's, I mean, that's big right now. Being able to have enrollments without having an actual school to go to or do the intros at. I mean, that's success. But I think that also it's going to be a consistency thing, because after this is over, we're praying every day that it's over faster than ever. But after it's over, we're going to have a whole set of clientele that we never had before that don't want to come back to the school. It's the world's never going to be the same, and we know that. And so this is going to have to be a service that we continue probably forever to be able to maintain another group of clientele. Like, you're going to have a physical school and you're going to have a virtual school. And so we got to make sure that both sets are being serviced, so that way we can have that one income.
Yeah, I agree. Family that I'm friends with here in West Palm Beach, they posted a picture of their daughter taking a Taekwondo class. And the woman writes, "This is really nice. I don't know if we'll ever go back to the school because I'm saving so much time having her train at home." So the child's still engaged, and she saw the picture of her in a uniform in front of the computer. And mom's saying, "This is pretty cool. She gets to do this, and I don't have to go to school." which I think there's something hugely missing because a lot of parents just sign up for the activity and the children making friends and having a
Mm.
social life outside. But we'll see. Like I
Yeah.
believe totally what you say is some parents are gonna be afraid to go back.
Yeah.
Um, till a while. It could be 6 months after they say it's all over before parents feel comfortable with their children, even though
Hmm.
it doesn't seem to be affecting a lot of kids.
I think that it should just be something like where there's, in my opinion, tiers. It's like, a tier for virtual training only, physical training only, and then like all inclusive. You can do virtual or physical. So if you don't feel like coming to the school today, you can train at home, or your schedule got too busy and you can train at home. So, it's just going to be another benefit to schools that are going to capitalize on it.
Let me ask you one more question because you're really good at staff training. You have some, I've talked to some senior instructors that are afraid to do Zoom classes because they've never been on a camera and they're afraid of making mistakes and things like that. So I'm thinking we have teenagers, maybe the teenagers have a little more confidence, but give me 3 or 4 tips for training your staff. You're a natural, I mean, you've done stuff on cameras all your life, just like I have. So it's no big deal, but a lot of people are afraid. And how do you give like tips for
So senior instructors, especially people that have never been on a camera before, I think a big thing would be to record yourself first. That way you can see some of the twitches that you make and some of the things, because if you're constantly rolling your eyes and people are going to catch on to that, small things like that. So record yourself just having a conversation or teaching a class. That way you can see what they are seeing. And then you can be your own instructor, like, oh, you know what, I need to stop that, or I need to critique that. And so that would be the first thing. And then use that as experience for your junior instructors to train, because now you can actually tell your junior instructors, hey, this is how I got better. I recorded myself and I graded myself. I found that I'm not perfect. I have humility and I know that I can get better at these things. Now we need to work on what can you guys get better at. And so that way you're leading from the top down, because there's not very many people that had all this experience in front of a camera before all this happened. And then all of a sudden this happened and every martial arts instructor becomes a YouTube star. And so, everyone's got the camera now in their face. So that's a big one there. The other thing is when you're engaging with a camera, like right now we have a great back and forth because I can feed off of you, you can feed off of me. But when we're teaching classes and we have 50 to 70, students taking class at one time virtually, they're all muted or else it's going to be chaos. And the only voice is yours. So you don't have the back and forth banter that you would. You can't wait for that, yes, sir. And so anytime that you're waiting, that's the awkward silence that they're going to be hearing or feeling. So, I purposely will pre-frame them ahead of time. Pre-frame, don't post-judge, right? And so I pre-frame my students ahead of time and I say, hey, I want you to still answer back. I want you to be so loud that even though you're on mute, I can hear you through the screen. And so I want your parents, if they're in the other room, to come over and be like, what is going on in here? And so the students are like, yeah, I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be loud. They're probably told all day long, you can't be loud. And I'm like, go ahead and be loud. And so, I asked them, I said, are you ready? And I do this. And I don't hear anything, but it gives them an opportunity to know, like, oh, they want me to be loud now. Okay, and I'm like, I'm looking for you. I can see you. Imagine you're watching an action movie. If the action movie's on mute, can you still tell that they're going strong when they're punching and they're hitting? And they're nodding their heads. And I said, okay, well then you're on mute right now. I need to see you be strong in an action movie. And then you see them working and going, and the face is there. So that kind of communication is huge virtually, because we don't have the ability just to walk over to the kid and pat them on the back and say, I see you today. I know you're doing a good job. Our ability now to highlight is on Zoom. We see their names, say, Johnny, that's it. I can see you. And you see Johnny look over at his mom like he just saw me, and so we're still doing the spotlight and highlight in that sense, but it's just modified now. So the camera, it can be scary because, we, during classes, some of us were really good at playing things off or redirecting I think you said it before, that moral GPS or that instructor GPS, like rerouting, if your class starts going this way, we can reroute. But during it's us. And so if you stop, like, oh man, or I know there are some junior instructors, especially teens, like they get in a habit where, okay, ready, 30 seconds on your own, go. And then they pick up their phone and then they're checking their phone or anything, right?
No, you can't do
That can't happen now.
that.
None of that can, because if you stand there with your phone and you're spotlighted on their screen and that student or that person takes a picture of the screen of you on your phone teaching class, everything is different. So those are the things that as senior instructors training junior instructors, we need to make them aware of, that we don't have the ability to yell cut. We don't have the ability to edit. This is live training with our students, and it's 100% reliant on your energy and your interaction.
I know you're a big fan of using music. Have you used music in virtual classes?
I've tried, but it's so difficult because when the music is going, sometimes it interferes. So I've been playing music during my fitness classes and letting them have that. But during the rest of the classes, it's just me, and which is another thing, because music gives me energy and music builds the energy with the students, right? And so now it's all reliant on me. So I've got to, okay, and go out there and do it. And it's been interesting, but it was quick. Music was a luxury, not a necessity in my classes. So it was nice to be able to have for those high energy moments. But now, during the high energy moments, it's just, okay, we have all these people and we're clapping for them and we're shouting their names out when we see them doing stuff. That's the other thing. Any advice for the juniors and seniors? You have to move. Like, definitely make sure that you have a professional production, know where the line is, where your head gets cut off, or else they're talking to your chest the whole time. And so you have to move, but you've got to be engaged with the camera. One of the coolest things is to be able to show them the rotation of the punch. They're like, that was so cool, just doing that, or your kick, boom, going in the camera. But I'm constantly doing this or that, like turning here. Like if I'm pointing, oh, there's Johnny, and he could be way over here. But, it's just, it's that stuff that gives them that engagement. And so we're still changing the levels, standing, kneeling, all of that. It's class, but it's much more reliant on the instructor. So that's also a benefit of having the classes a little bit shorter too, I think, because at the end you're like, whew, and you take a little breath.
I was talking to Johnny Karate from New York, and he goes, it's tough teaching all day long. He goes, because I always have to be doing something. It's not like I said, okay, we can practice this kick for 60 seconds. I'm walking around. He says, I'm talking, I'm doing stuff for the entire class. He goes, it gets tiring.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is if you're all by yourself, like you're doing the techniques with the kids, like you're in class, and the only time that you're not doing them is when you're using the computer to spotlight someone and put them up as the spotlight on the Zoom meeting, not you as the spotlight, right? So I know I've been watching some instructors across the country, and I'm like, ooh, it's been a little while since they jumped in class. It's a good thing they're in there now, And, so that's the other thing is make sure that you have your class plan, check your class plan, and plan out, are you going to perform this or is someone else? I'll be honest, and there are some techniques, like I don't fly as high as I used to back in the day, and wait, what we said back in the 1900s, we were really good. But so I'm on the ground a lot more. But if I've got somebody in my class that's training virtually and I'm like, hey, today we're working on tornado kicks or 540s or jump split, check out this person. I'll spotlight them, and now they're in front of everybody virtually and they do it. And I'm like, all right, let's break it down. And I can break it down like a master, but performing it, then I can just spotlight the people to perform it. So that's a big thing there, is plan out your class, know what you're going to perform, what you're not, because you have to assume that at any moment during your entire class, there's somebody behind the camera watching you, like a parent or a friend or anybody, and they're recording you. Yep. And so that's a huge thing you got to remember.
All right. So I really appreciate all your feedback. Now we have to do a virtual instructor college for virtual instructors.
Bring it on. Let's go. Yeah.
All right. So you stay safe. Family stay safe in San Antonio.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, you guys too. Give Jeannie my best.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Bye, sir.